I want to keep this short. I don't want to be before y'all long. I don't want to be before y'all long. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is me, Marquise G, and I am so humble and grateful to have you here on my channel watching this video. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you like and comment on this video, and then make sure you go back and watch the past videos so you can get caught up for what we have coming next, okay? It's kind of late. This is pretty impromptu. I was gonna have another mommy-daughter-ish episode for you guys this week, but you know, current events roll around and sometimes I just feel the need to speak on them. So I was like, what a better time to reintroduce G Talk, okay? So if you're new to this channel, G Talk is a series that I started back last summer actually, and essentially what G Talk is it's keeping it G, okay? My last name is G, if you guys don't know by now. So I was like, you know, what is the best way? I always like to play on my name. So I wanted to have something that I could really just talk about the things that were on my mind, be able to express those things, and then also talk about them in a way that I feel other people could relate to or, you know, take some additional insight from. So that's where G Talk came from. I just talk about honest and relevant topics that have either just been circulating on my mind or are going around on social media or just in pop culture, whatever the case may be. It might be related to a current event, as today's will be, but yeah, I just talk about different things and just how they apply to my life. As you know, this channel is really just talking about growing up, discovering, you know, what adulthood is really like, talking about the good, the bad, and everything in between. So this is just where I can keep it real and just get some additional things off my mind, because my number one motto is, if God put it on your heart, let it come out of your mouth, okay? So today, what was on my heart was specifically centered around the Harry, Meghan, Oprah Winfrey interview that was on CBS. I believe it aired on Sunday. What is today? Oh my gosh. Today is Tuesday, March 9th. So it aired 2 days ago on Sunday the 7th on CBS. If you haven't seen it already, you can download the CBS app for free and watch it for free on their app. It doesn't require you to log into a cable network provider or anything like that. So you can watch it there, you can watch it for free. It was highly intense. It was a little upsetting. It was it was just a lot. It was a lot for sure, and I had a lot of emotions about it, as you've probably seen if you pay attention to social media at all. I'm sure you have seen commentary of some sort on it. I think my 3 highlights overall of the entire interview was, one, that I always forget Oprah was a journalism girl. Like, she was always original to the journalism game. And I think that interview, I mean, she's done numerous of interviews, but that interview specifically, she was in her journalism bag, okay? I was in journalism, I studied journalism for about 2.5 years during college. And then I switched my major. And it was so intense for me because that is what true journalism looks like, and I want to get that depth and in detail, but I also like to add a little personal flair. I think if I were to become, you know, a super, you know, really got into journalism like I wanted to, it would definitely be along the lines of the Oprah Winfrey style. I feel like there was no bars held, I believe is how you say it. Basically, there was nothing that she could not ask. They didn't tell her this is off topic or this is off limits. We won't talk about this. There were things that they did not want to talk about, which they stated in the interview if she asked a question. But beforehand, there were no lists given of what was going to be talked about, no list of the questions that were going to be asked. They had no clue. And she probed, like she really went in. And as a journalist, you're supposed to be able to ask probing questions, really questions that don't garner a yes or a no, so that you can really get, full emotion and full topics out of the interviewee. But even in those cases, you're supposed to be able to continue to ask deeper questions to really evoke the answer that you're trying to get. And that's what Oprah did. Two, I feel for Meghan. Like, in these situations, it's very hard because I'm not going to say I'm the most well-read on the monarchy or British institutions or anything like that. I'm just now learning about the U.S. governmental system, so I can't really get into the depths of what other people's governing bodies look like. I'm not really the biggest well-read on Meghan Markle herself, except for her previously being an actress, being from the U.S., and that's about all I know about her. So I'm not even saying I'm super team Meghan. It's just from her obvious emotion she went through during that time. I feel for her. You have to just really take into consideration all that she had to go through. And I don't know if any of you watched the Princess Diana documentary on Netflix. I forget the exact title of it, but I watched it about 3 months ago now, and I watched it at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I remember being up all night, literally like crying at this documentary because it was so unimaginable, the things that she had to go through. And I think a lot of the times, because of the news, because of social media, we have the ability to disassociate the hype that things are on. And I know a lot of us watch like Disney princess movies, or because we see them so highly publicized, we feel like we might be in that world a little bit. But they are royalty, like literal royalty, to the text, royalty. And I had to like really conceptualize it, because I'm like, our biggest equivalent to what their royalty is the president of the United States. I could not fathom being the president of the United States, and there is a lot of protocol and procedure and formality that you have to follow in that. But British royalty, the tradition that is behind that, the lineage that it falls from, the rules and policies and protocols they have to follow, I could not imagine having to do that. So imagine having to do that when you don't come from that culture at all. And she made mention of that in the interview as to how, no one really prepped her, or, she had to learn all of the customs and how to curtsy and the national anthems and the hymnals and all these things by herself. Like, can you imagine? I mean, it's different if you go to like a Beyonce concert and you don't know none of the songs. You chose to go to this concert, so you should have accurately prepped herself. I'm sure she could have prepped herself some, as she did, but essentially when you're stepping into something that large, I mean, come on, who's thinking? And especially when you go into something like that, obviously I'm sure she was aware she was, going into a line of royalty. But I can only imagine going into a relationship with a man that I love, and honestly, all that I'm thinking about is that I love this man. I'm not thinking about, I don't know, just all the extras that come behind it. I can't put myself in her shoes. All I can say is that I can personally feel where she's coming from. The third thing was just the overwhelmingness that Harry was, I don't know if you can call him Prince. I don't think he's technically Prince Harry anymore. I'm not really for sure on what that means or how that works. But Harry left everything for his family. That says a lot. That says a lot. This man, essentially, his whole life could have been secured for the rest of his life. And he gave all of that up for his wife and his children. And that really just blows my mind. I could only imagine, you know, my parents leaving me a trust fund of some sort, but in order to keep it, I have to follow some certain strict set of rules that are completely against, you know, maybe my own moral code or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I have this safety of knowing I'm going to be protected, I'm going to be cared for, I will be financially stable for the rest of my life. My children will be set for the rest of their lives. And then I just walk away because of my higher moral ground. Like, that's crazy to me. That is so crazy. So those are the biggest three things that I could take away. But what I personally wanted to talk about was two things. I feel like there are other things, especially when it comes to the racial injustices and things that she faced. I feel like there are far better resources to get that context of information from that can articulate it a little bit better. So by all means, make sure you check social media to find those people who are speaking and voicing their opinions on it, because there are a lot of people. But what I personally wanted to talk about that I felt strongly about was, one, believing in the support of women, and two, familial support. And I'll start with familial support first, because that is such a big thing to me. My family means the world to me. I could not fathom my family not being around, or my family not supporting me or loving me or standing behind me. I mean, so much of the reason of why I am the person, why I am the person that I am today is because of my family. A lot of the things that I've accomplished, a lot of the things that I've done, a lot of the faith that I have in myself is because of my family constantly supporting me and having my back and believing in me and pushing me. So I could not fathom not having them around to do that. What I think is interesting, again, I'm not familiar with the monarchy or anything like that, but what I think is so interesting is that you have the royal family who is run by an institution. I don't understand how family and institution can run in the same realm. I mean, essentially, you're just a family by blood at this point. Like, the word family essentially doesn't really mean anything. To me, during that interview, it gave me the sense of they don't have dinner together unless it's for a public obligation. They don't sit around and have real, true family memories unless it's for a photo op. Like, I couldn't imagine what their holidays look like. Like, what does Christmas look like? What does Thanksgiving look like? Because I know with me and my family, it's our time to gather and be around one another and laugh and catch up and just enjoy each other's company, let our shoulders down and just have a good time. But I can't see that happening in their family. Even when Harry spoke of his grandmother, and I'm gonna reference her as his grandmother because that's what she is, I couldn't imagine me I can't communicate with my grandmother. Cannot speak for me. My grandmother cannot have my back. My grandmother cannot, I don't know, protect me in a way a grandmother should. And that alone would have been enough for me to leave. You know what I mean? Not having that support from any of my family. My My brother, really? Like, my sister is one of the closest, not it one of, she is the closest person to me. I take that back. My mom is probably a little bit closer to me than my sister, but next up behind her is my sister. And I couldn't imagine not being able to share things with my sister or speak my honest opinions with my sister, or my sister just have my back. If somebody was coming at my sister in a way, I would be there to stand behind her. I would be going to bat for her, and the same would be vice versa. If somebody was attacking me or criticizing me or treating me in a way that I did not deserve, my sister would be right there ready to square up, okay, on site. So I couldn't imagine not having that family support on Harry's end, because this is essentially, she married into his family. So then from Meghan's side, not only, I know she had her friends and family, on her end in the background, but essentially it sounds like she was kind of estranged from them, one. Then you marry into this family, and I'm not married, but I know a large hope in marriages is that the families will get along. But then you marry into this family who pretty much doesn't really accept you, basically, at the end of the day. Then there was one thing on race that I did want to bring up, and it was the comment, I think, that triggered everything that's being talked about on social media right now, which is what the color of their child's skin would be like. And from that instance, that's what really triggered me wanting to talk about familial support, because I believe love is love. You know what I mean? I know everyone's just like, oh, black king, get you a black queen, black queen, get you a black king. All for that, 100%. But also, love is love. You love who you love. I have been in a relationship with a person who was not 100% black. He met my family and my friends and just a lot of people in my life, and never once was it granted, we were young, so there wasn't really a lot of talk about our future and things like that when other people would talk about us, but never once was it no one even ever questioned the fact of why I was dating this man. Like, that was never a topic of, oh, what's gonna happen if you guys do this or do that. What does it matter? We love each other, and this is our family, and this is going to be a part of your family. But what it really made me realize was how much their family is ran by other people. Their family is a business, and even though that comment was way out of line, that comment was to ensure the rest of their lineage, because it's not only just baby Archie, it's baby Susanna and Rosie and Timothy and Bob and all these other children down the line that are going to come. Because then, say for example, I'm sure this is the thought process, because these people have been doing this for a while, so they know that they're preparing for years and decades down the road. So then the question becomes, okay, well, we have Prince Harry, who has met Meghan. They are then going to have an interracial child, okay? And now we have baby Archie. Let's say baby Archie then goes out into the world, grows up, he meets an 100% black woman. Then what? Now their child is even darker. Now our monarchy is turning into something totally different. You see there? So it's not so much, it is about race. It is about race. But larger than that, larger than that and on a bigger scale, and it's an issue that a lot of people have. It's an issue we have here in the US. It's an issue we have in corporate America. It's an issue we have in real estate. It's an issue we have in the music industry, in the film industry. In almost every facet of life, it is an issue that we have, is that people are not willing to adapt, accept, or pivot toward change. And a lot of what is happening now, especially in the era of COVID, is change. One, people speaking up and stepping into roles that they might not have been accepted into once before. And two, changing the narrative of how certain roles look and how certain systems function. And so allowing Meghan in was an act of sacrifice in a sense. Because at the end of the day, in their mind, they're just building the system, which Prince Harry is a part of. Prince Harry needs to be married. This is the one. Okay, she's mixed, but she's fair passing. We'll accept it. We're gonna put some contingencies on it, but we'll accept it. However, we'll only accept it because down the line, this could get a little out of hand, and we can't afford to let this get out of hand. That's what that's really about. Is people want to have such control over certain situations that they don't want to allow change to happen, even though the changes don't serve any real just harm to anybody. It wasn't as if Meghan came into the role and said, oh, well, I'm married now. I just want to kick back, lay my feet up, have all my butlers and maids tend to me, and that's that. She was willing to go into the role to, fulfill her duties and be an activist and all these other things. I don't know what all the official rules and regulations of the title are. I don't. But at the end of the day, it would have thrown a curve in their matrix that they were not willing or prepared to adjust or pivot toward. And so that's one thing that I want people to realize, is that the louder you speak, the more people will try to silence you. And these larger systems are mass manipulators. So it can be tough and challenging to speak for yourself or really try to uproot a system or change things, even if that's not intentionally what you're trying to do, without you even realizing it. If you have any thought that goes against a traditional system, eventually it's going to come out, intentionally or unintentionally. And people will see that either way. And if they don't like it, they will try to upend it no matter what. No matter what. Even if the thoughts that you have are for the best, that will lead the system in a better direction, they just don't want to hear it. They don't. That's the sad reality of it. They don't want to hear it. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is supporting and believing women, because the fact that Meghan is now the second princess in this institution that has had to go through what she had to go through is insane to me. And when they say history repeats itself, that should be evidence of it. We have evidence of history repeating itself literally everywhere, almost every single day, but that should have been a large wake-up call. And I think that, although unfortunate, although very tragic, although it's heartbreaking and painstaking, as I'm sure it has been for everyone involved in that situation, I don't believe anything happens for no reason. Everything happens for a reason. And I feel that with Princess Diana's death, it should have been a wake-up call then. However, with the improvement in technology that we have today, the more awareness we have of things going on around the world, I feel like there was greater light shed on this situation, and we could draw more information from the past. And I feel as if, and it was so crazy because I feel like Harry was speaking to this in the interview. He just didn't want to go all the way there, but he made reference to how he felt the presence of his mom throughout the entire situation that was going on. And I do believe that if you believe in higher powers or, angels or anything like that, I do believe in some way that this was probably the work of Princess Diana coming back around. And because essentially their stories, Princess Diana and Meghan Markle, their stories line very closely. very closely to one another. Of course, there are a lot of distinctions, but fundamentally they line very closely to one another. The biggest thing is that Meghan Markle did not have to die in order for true light to be shed on the situation. And I think even more light has been shown in Meghan Markle's situation because of the racial aspect of it. But the fact that she endured all that she endured, and I mean, when I saw flashbacks of all the tabloid coverings and things people were saying in the media, just bashing her over and over, and I mean, just saying the worst things. And I mean, that's another thing, is that we have to stop feeding into the media machines, because that is another reason why I did not continue my degree in journalism, because to me it was very invasive, and I never wanted to feel like I was impeding upon someone's life just for a quick read or a 5-minute piece on air. I never wanted it to feel that way. And I was telling a friend this a while ago, but at the end of the day, we have to realize we all function in our own worlds, in our own little bubbles. And in our careers, we're all trying to be the best that we can become. However, not all of us want to become the best through the best standards and practices. And a lot of journalists are trying to become the Oprahs and the, all the big time journalists and stuff you see on New York Times or 60 Minutes, whatever the case may be. All of those people are fighting to become that person, the one that's going to get, the NPR award or the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever the case may be. Everyone's fighting for that. And sometimes I feel like the media world can forget that the people that they are reporting on at the end of the day are people. And it's unfortunate because they can put out their stories and go home at night and sleep comfortably because they got a check. Whole time, you don't know the words that you said, how it affect the person that you wrote it about or the people that are reading it. That's what's even worse, is that you're doing this to attack a singular person that you're writing about, but you're attacking numerous people that relate to whoever that person you're talking about. And I think that a lot needs to be said about a lot of these media channels and resources that we feed into. Even myself, I don't watch, traditional news stations or read the newspaper or anything like that. I might catch an article or two here or there, but I don't really feed into it a lot, because also as well, I mean, now with the power of social media, if someone wanted you to know something or wanted to clear something up for themselves or talk about it, I could just easily go to their profile and see what they had to say about it. A lot of these times, these articles are speculative. They're coming from direct sources, which is also an invasion of privacy to me as well, because if there was someone in my close friend group that I felt was going around telling other people my business, that's essentially what these people are doing, except they're getting paid for it. And it's just sick to me. It's sick to me. The fact that you have that much greed, that you're willing to tear people down and ruin relationships and friendships and families just to get a click or just to get a viewer or anything like that. It's absurd to me. It's absurd. And I feel as if one thing she said in the interview was they did a throwback clip of an interview she had in South Africa, and she said no one thought to check and see if I was okay. And that really struck a nerve with me, because I feel like a lot of the time as women, we tend to just maneuver about the world, and we get things done and handle things because to an extent it's what we're expected to do, and we don't know how to really do anything differently. And a lot of the times we don't get a lot of safe spaces to express ourselves or anything like that. And even when we do have a moment to say how we feel. We don't want to seem whiny or like we're complaining or ungrateful or anything like that. However, you do need people to check in on you and say, are you okay? And it doesn't all, just because you have on a smile on your face and you're not moping around or sad and laying in bed depressed, doesn't always mean that you're okay. And that's one thing that I've come to really learn and understand and realize, is that I always check on people when I see them. And I'm trying to do better and be more intentional of checking in on people when I don't see them. And not out of any concern or anything like that, but it's because if I only check in when I see you, in my case, it doesn't mean that I don't care when I don't see you. It's just that that's what I'm paying attention to. I'm not being present in the outer worlds. I'm not being present in the outer worlds. And if you mean something to me, I should constantly be checking it on you, because there are people who are constantly checking on me, to the point where it surprises me some days. Like sometimes some of my friends will just text me like, hey, have a good day, love you, like, and I'm like, oh my God, like, that's so nice. And these are my friends, like people I know, people I talk to, I love, I cherish dearly. So we have to be better at checking in on people, making sure people are okay, especially if we know people that are in powers of, in seats of status and, you know, power of any kind. Definitely check on those people, because they're facing, not saying we're not all facing something, but I don't know. Everybody has a problem. Just the magnitude of the problem can be different depending on the person. So I don't know. This was kind of rambly. I don't know if it's going to make sense. I just had a lot of emotions and feelings and thoughts and opinions about that whole situation. I'm hoping to be able to talk with more people. I would like to speak with, you know, people that are actually from London or the UK, to kind of get a better understanding of the monarchy in general, what that looks like in their country, the problems they face. Because I know the problems we face with our government system here in the US, but what are the similarities and differences between that? Also, what are the similarities and differences between our Black experiences, being in two different countries and being ruled by, I don't want to say ruled, because we're not technically, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. being governed by two different styles of governance. Yeah, I just really want to educate myself more on that, because I feel like this brought a lot of things to light. I feel like this situation is going to shed a lot of light just on a lot of different things for that governing system. Is going to undo a whole lot of strings over there, and I'm just, look, pray for them over there. I'm not good at geography, so I'm not gonna say any specific country names. And I tried to do a little Googling today, and I think like Great Britain is an island, and UK is an actual country, a part of an island. I don't know. It's confusing. Again, why I want to educate myself and talk to someone who can explain it a little bit more in depth to me. But yeah, I don't know if you're going to get anything from this, but if you watched it, let me know in the comments. If you had any thoughts, opinions, feelings, anything like that on the situation, please let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned for more content coming. Make sure you check and follow all of my pages. I'll leave that information down below. Yeah, that's all I got for now. I'll see you next time. And yeah, just remember, you're fearless, you're strong, and you're capable of anything and everything that you want to do. And if no one else has told you, I believe in you, I love you, and yeah, you will always and forever be successful in my eyes. I'll see you next time. Bye.